What's good? It's the King of '06 here, and I'm back today with another video. Let's talk some free agency. The NBA side free agency just started yesterday. Um, but there were a couple moves, yesterday and I guess Wednesday as well happened that I want to touch on first. Um, Dejounte Murray was traded from the Spurs to the Hawks for Danilo Gallinari and three future first round picks. And for the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, uh, sweepstakes, and Scoot Henderson's also, a top prospect next year. So those first round picks should help out a lot. But Danilo Gallinari should not be producing any type of anything for them. Meanwhile, for Dejounte Murray, um, you know, going back to the Spurs for a second, like that was your main facilitator. Like you got some good capital back, but that's your main facilitator. He averaged nearly 10 assists per game last season, with their next best assist man being Jakob Pertl, their center with 2.8. That's very bad. So, like, not gonna be too much, Shouldn't be a lot of ball movement for the Spurs offense. Probably a lot of isolation instead. It might not really help them out much. But Dejounte Murray on the other side will help out Trae Young very much in the same fashion that Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey are perfect complements to each other. You know, their duo, is more generalized here. Trae Young's clearly stronger on the offensive side, whereas Dejounte Murray can absolutely mask his defensive problems. Um, I thought that they traded away John Collins initially when I first saw the trade break, and I got scared, but they haven't. Um, this move probably doesn't make them an NBA Finals contender, but it does set them up for very nice playoff runs in the future, as well as if they keep John Collins, which I think they should do. And then the Warriors, we haven't been active in free agency, of course, after winning a championship. There's not much need to be, but we have lost some key pieces. Juan Toscano Anderson has went to the Lakers on a 1-year deal. Otto Porter earlier today signed a deal with the Raptors. And the biggest key piece of these three, Gary Payton II, very productive player. Very key reason why we won the championship is signing a 3-year deal with the Blazers. I'm actually pretty happy for him. He hasn't been on any one team very consistently. Now he's about to have 3 years with the Blazers. It's pretty great for him. It's just disappointing to see him go because like that was a good player, great player for us, man. Contributed very well. You know, like we can get that back, but it's like man, it does suck. Um, Going back to some prior trades and or like ordeals yesterday, KD requested a trade from the Nets, and he is eyeing the Heat and the Suns. The Suns, CP3's getting older by the minute. That collapse in the playoffs. And, KD is having his own collapse in a way. But when he's been on teams by himself, which has been a little rarely, but especially with the Nets last year when Harden and Kyrie got hurt, or Harden was even in that game 7, but was definitely not him full self, but he carried that team on his back as much as he could. The only reason why they didn't win the game was because he stepped on 3-point line pretty much by accident. And then, the other shots he missed in overtime, he was exhausted. He played around 51 minutes in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, with the Suns, you're getting somebody who, if CP3 isn't stepping up in Devin Booker, you know, his shots aren't falling. KD can help you out with that. I don't know what the Suns would have to give up for Durant. Maybe Aiden. I don't know if they want to do that. Um, and then the Heat, perfect fit. He doesn't have defense, but does he need to when team defense is probably going to be preached the way that the Heat play? You know, you have Jimmy Butler still, you have Gallinari still, Bam Adebayo. You know, like they're all great defenders in their own right. And KD is going to be in that front court with, again, good defenders, good teammates that can help if he struggles a little bit on that side. So, you know. But the Nets, it has been thrown around that they are the biggest modern failure in the NBA right now, but this has been going on for decades. It couldn't do much when Jason Kidd, Vince Carter, and Richard Jefferson were there because again, it was much harder back then. But you know, you tried this with Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, KG, and Deron Williams all old and past their primes, and you basically gave the Celtics Jason Tatum in that. So I mean, this isn't the first time that they've been through this, but you know, um, a couple supermaxes. Though I believe I originally thought he probably was gonna be a bit more hesitant to take the money because this team has been so bad, but nonetheless, after opting out of his player option, Bradley Beal signed a 5-year, $251 million deal with the Wizards. Again, it has been thrown around like he's not a typical player that you would give a supermax because he's not really a franchise player. But since John Wall has left and that was their franchise player, he's had to step up. He's done what he's needed to do, at least stats wise, playoff success and team success, and probably not. But you need somebody there for you, and Bradley Beal is that right now for the team. Meanwhile, then Nikola Jokic agrees to a 5-year, $264 million deal with the Nuggets. Supermax, well deserved, back to back MVP, all the way from being a second round pick in 2014. It's that's a great signing. I have nothing more to say about that. Uh, what they will end up doing with Jamal Murray, if he comes out this season, balls out, maybe a little bit down the line, do they give him a max or a super max alongside that? I don't know, but he will have to be healthy because you're not gonna give a contract extension of that magnitude to somebody who just got back from injury. Hasn't played in quite a while, though. You know what he's capable of, but that's not gonna happen. But great deal for Jokic. Nothing more to say about that. The Lakers lost Malik Monk to the Kings, and he's definitely gonna get in even more of an opportunity in Sacramento to do something again. They're a bad franchise, and he was already doing this on the Lakers. And he was there. He was a top 3 player for the Lakers, and his value went up. You know, so this is like I guess it's a fair move for the Kings, and they ended up getting back Lonnie Walker the fourth. I don't know how much he'll be able to do. He's probably not gonna have the same productivity leap that Malik Monk did. He's a fine player though, so you never know. Um, Daryl Morey reunites James Harden with a couple of his former Rockets teammates and PJ Tucker and Daniel House. They're going to the 76ers. Um, the Bucks re-signed some of their core. Wesley Matthews, I wouldn't understand why. But him, Bobby Portis makes sense, and Javon Carter makes sense as well. And then they signed Joe Ingles to a 1 year deal. It's gonna be very unorthodox to see him playing for a team like the Bucks now, but it's a good move for them. He gives you spacing that, like, even though the Bucks have won a championship at this point, is still a very pressing matter. Um, the Trailblazers signed Anfernee Simons to a 4 year, $100 million deal. Um, well, worth it because again, I'll touch on the Jalen Brunson situation later. But when um Damian Lillard was out last season and for the future because he's a young player, he's already proven to you he can come into a starting lineup, take over a team and do very good. Um, Nothing negative to say there. The Thunder agreed to a 5 year, $87 million deal with Lou Dort. He's been steadily improving, you know, and good player. Like that's about the amount of money he would be getting. Also, nothing negative to say about that. Um, JaVale McGee, on the other hand, signed a 3 year deal with the Mavericks to be a backup center. He's always been a very productive backup center, and he can um teach Christian Wood, help out Christian Wood and take out some of the holes he has in his game right now. Um, it's a good signing. Um, Jalen Brunson would officially agree to a 4 year deal with the Knicks. Um, 4 years, $104 million. I still don't understand how the Mavericks would allow that to happen, but you know what? They did draft this Jaden Hardy prospect. You better hope that he can develop into something for you if you're gonna give away Jalen Brunson just like that. But on the next side, again, you're giving somebody a contract who is only improved. He's been steadily improving and he's a fine player, but 16 points per game scorer getting $26 million a year? And then does he like how much do you believe he's gonna help your team? You like I don't understand, you know? It's not that he's a bad player, but is he really worth that much money per year for only having one season and one short, you know, amount of playoff games doing good and playing high tier basketball? Nah, it doesn't make sense. Uh Andre Drummond signed a 2 year deal with the Bulls. Nothing negative to say about that at all. Um okay. Um some more SuperMax extensions as we move on to, some moves today. Um Devin Booker signed a 4 year, $224 million deal with the Suns. I see this is more out of hesitance than loyalty to your franchise player. And like Devin Booker, 2021 finals, he didn't come up in the clutch in the last few games, playing very lackluster basketball. And then I don't even think I need to explain the Game 7 disaster of this year's playoffs by basically everybody on that team. Cam Johnson getting exposed, Chris Paul, not playing up to where you want him to be in the playoffs after all this time. And then Devin Booker just not doing very good at all. And, absolutely shit. A total zero in that last game. But, with CP3 getting older by the minute, and again, Devin Booker is your franchise player. That's why. But it's a good deal. You could say he deserved it, but not without some second thoughts by that front office. Though their front office down there in Phoenix is a bit dysfunctional to begin with. Sarver, has some very weird stuff going around anyway. But um, you know, it's fine, I suppose. John Morant agreed to a 5-year, $193 million rookie max. And again, comparative to Jalen Brunson, like, no, Jalen Brunson is not on the same tier as John Morant. Yes, they have both steadily improved in their seasons. And John Morant, is a top 3 pick compared to Jalen Brunson. But when you're going from only 14 to 16 points per game in a season on fine shooting, and then a 21 points per game outing in the playoffs as a guard, to get that much money, I guess, is fine. But Ja Morant literally went from under 20 points per game across a few of his seasons in the league already to going to 27.2 with one of the highest in the league. Completely broke out. The facilitating is on full display, his scoring ability, not to mention his athleticism and must watch dunks. I don't even have to say anything about those. But getting that much of a jump in the regular season and in the playoffs, he had to have at least 30 points per game in the playoffs. And what he did to my Warriors when he was healthy, that gave all of us Warriors fans out there a scare, as it should have. And with that improvement, like, that is contract worthy to a player more that has improvement like Ja Morant's more than improvement like Jalen Brunson. There's no problem with improving, but uh only a drastic uh jump like that in your game and massive skill improvement deserves that kind of max, super max, even I guess this rookie max money right here. Not Jalen Brunson. Brunson can prove himself, but it's like, I'm like, man. Um, Karl Anthony Towns signed a 4-year, $224 million extension as well today with the Timberwolves. And, again, good move. You're going to show that loyalty to your franchise player here. A lack of playoff success, that's been dating back to ever way before Cat got here, but also, going through since he's been here. Some of it's his fault, some of it, a good portion of it isn't. Um, but it's a well-deserved deal for him. He's up there with the Dirks of the world in terms of shooting fives, um, spacing fives in NBA history. So take that. Um, Zion Williamson agreed to a 5-year, $231 million extension with the Pelicans. So all the talk about him not being all for what the Pelicans are doing or trying to go to the Knicks or all that gets shut down for everybody. And it's deserved. Like, it has its hesitancy, don't get me wrong, uh it is scary to see him not have played a full season yet or anywhere close to it except for one at this point. His health issues have been well stated, so I don't need to go into them, but that's gonna have you thinking a little bit. But when he was healthy, right out of the gates, he dominated in his first 24 games, like he has been dominant. He has been very dominant across the limited amount of games he's played. You need him to get more healthy, but I have faith that he can. Updates on that have been looking really hopeful for all Pelicans fans out there. So, you know, you'll like this is a fine deal. I see no problem with it. Um Ricky Rubio goes to the Cavs after being traded from there to the Pacers last year for Karis Levert, and now you're getting both of those two back without any sort of trouble or anything. When Ricky Rubio was there last year before his injury, though, um, their hot start was very well attributed to him. So, fit is already a thing. Um, Nothing bad about that. Like that's a great move. The Knicks got Mitchell Robinson on a 4-year, $60 million deal. The Holiday brothers, Aaron and Justin Holiday, both go to the Hawks today via different ways. Um, Zach LaVine gets a 5-year, $315 million extension with the Bulls, and it's well deserved. Even if this didn't get done though, like anybody, any like Lakers fans out there specifically who believe that he would go to that team is just like that was utterly delusional. That wasn't happening anyway. Um, Yusuf Nurkic of the Blazers signed a 4-year, $70 million deal with them. John Wall got his official contract today, $6.6 million per year, 2-year deal with the Clippers. Um, Justin Holiday, Mo Harkless, and a future first round pick that is protected got sent to the Hawks via them having to give up Kevin Herter to the Kings. Um, the Hawks, I guess, recoup some draft capital, here. Kevin Herter, again, I don't know how much he'll really be able to do, but he will have very ample opportunities to do so with Sacramento. They're not good. They're not even remotely close to it, you know. So I mean, like there's just nothing I can really say about that right now. Yeah, I guess you have to wait until basketball comes back and see how he could potentially play. Um, the Celtics um trade Daniel Tice, Aaron Neesmith, Malik Fitz, Juwan Morgan, Nick Stauskas, and a future first round pick to the Pacers for Malcolm Brogdon. It's been rumored all this time that they were looking for him, and they definitely value him a lot. Like, none of these 5 players I just named are like top tier players or anything, but with them all being separated, like that's a lot of depth you can have for the Pacers as a team that's trying to rebuild. And then a future first round pick is great for a team that's in this situation. And then for the Celtics, you get a player that can easily be a facilitator for you. Can is a very bankable, reliable scoring option when you need him to be compared to Derrick White, like times 55, you know, version of Derrick White. Like that's gonna help them out a lot. I definitely like the move. I assume some Pacers fans will be slightly mad, but I mean, if you look at everything they got back, it's not so bad. Um, One of my favorite players in NBA history, Derrick Jones Jr., just re-signed with the Bulls on a 2-year deal worth $6.6 million per year. I love the move, absolutely. Like he's not a player right now that is in a position to, give you a high amount of minutes, but he plays his role, and when he gets going, like he is definitely must see TV right up there with the John Morants of the league. And I think if he was in a situation where he had to lead his own team and he wasn't on like teams like in the past, like the Heat or teams of this era, like how the Bulls have with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan playing his position in the starting, role. Like he would definitely be one of the best players in the league. Honestly, that might be a little bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna make that statement and run with it. Um, and then Kevon Looney of the Golden State Warriors, we re-signed him to a 3-year, $25.5 million deal. Um, well deserved for the man. Like he still has his issues. He needs to get in shape. He needs to improve his stamina. But the fact that he played every last game of the season, playoffs and regular season combined, every game, even with those issues, like that shows how much he wants to win. He definitely has a winning mentality. Though it may not show physically, he has the mindset of giving his best effort 110% on the court every single game. And you got to love that. And in the playoffs, when we needed him to step up, he tremendously helped us out. Like his improvement on the boards in the playoffs really helped us out. Like that is, I'll honestly say that is probably one of the top 4 reasons why we won the championship was because of his improvement on the boards in the playoffs when we desperately needed it. When this small ball lineup having no true center in a player like James Wiseman playing because he was hurt, no true big man at all, but he got down, you know, was willing to do the dirty work and clean the glass, and that helped us out tremendously. And I do appreciate that. I love the move. Um, and that is all the moves so far from yesterday and today. I'm not, there are gonna be more later on. The second I end this video. Um, if you want to watch a similar video like this, I will put it in the end screen. But hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.